Welcome to the Market Samurai tutorials. My name is Taran Sham, and inside this tutorial I'd like to share with you on how to find profitable keywords. Before you do start inside this tutorial, what I highly recommend you do is make sure that you have Market Samurai installed already. Now if you haven't had Market Samurai installed already, what you can do is go to Market Samurai tutorials, which is located right down here, and if you click on marketsamuraistutorials.com, on the right hand side of the web page you'll see a download button. Simply click on that button and you'll be able to download Market Samurai. Once you've downloaded it, make sure that you install it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, before we do jump into Market Samurai and show you exactly step by step on how to find profitable keywords, I just want to give you a quick overview first, and it's crucial that you understand how this all works. So the first thing you need to do is to understand why we need to find these keywords and how we can determine that they're profitable. The first thing you want to look at and also determine which are good profitable keywords, I'm just going to write this down. The good profitable keywords have a few factors, and you need to understand that these are crucial in determining if these are profitable keywords for later on. Okay, so let's have a look. The first factor which determines a good keyword is its relevance. Okay, if it doesn't have relevance towards the keyword that you're choosing, then there's no point looking for it. You can obviously go ahead and choose a product, and let's say for example a product might be a poodle training, for example, and if poodle training is relevant to teaching people how to train poodles, then that product or that keyword is relevant. But if you went and selected a keyword such as dogs, training, recruiting, then it might not be relevant to specifically poodles. So you need to make sure that the keyword that you choose is going to have strong relevance. The second point, just to note as well too, is to ensure that there's enough traffic. There's no point researching and setting up and looking for keywords where there's no traffic. There's no point choosing a keyword that doesn't even have any traffic or very, very little traffic. So what you want to find is make sure that there's enough traffic in there. And I'll show you inside Market Samurai how to determine that. Okay, the third point that I want to note as well too is whether or not there's competition. Yes, every single market has at least some kind of competition, whether or not it be small or large competition. And this is crucial because it helps you determine whether or not you're going to be going into a really competitive market. Let's take a look at, say for example, making money market, or the making money industry. That is very, very saturated. There's a lot of competition. There's millions and millions of people competing for that key term, and good luck if you're going to try and compete in that industry, because it may take you a very, very long time to get there and to come up the top. But if you're going to jump into a very niche market like dragon boating, where there's very, very little competition, but there's a lot of people wanting to buy or interested in finding out a little bit more about the sport, then there's a very high chance that you could actually go into this market and really rank up at the top. So competition is very important, and this is why we're going to talk about it and look at it, how to determine whether or not your competition is important, or how high the competition will be in Market Samurai. Okay, so the fourth point that I just want to mention as well too, that's really important, is the commercial value of each keyword that you're going to be choosing. Okay, and if there's no commercial value, like it's not worth anything inside a particular thing, say for example if we did some Google research and found out that the commercial value of this particular keyword that you're researching is only worth 1 cent to Google, it may mean that Google doesn't have very many people looking at this particular keyword, and you need to find out whether or not it's viable. And for any keyword to be profitable, this is crucial because you need to determine whether or not this particular keyword has some potential to make money. And this is inside Market Samurai, we can see that and determine it from Google's analytics. And then one final thing just to add as well, this is important in a lot of aspects, because if you're going to be talking and researching all about that particular topic when you do your keyword research, you got to make sure there's passion. Make sure that this particular keyword or topic that you're choosing, you're going to be passionate about, because you need to make sure that you can keep writing about this particular topic or marketing in this industry for a very, very long time. And it may not be yourself that you may be choosing these keywords for. You may be outsourcing it to virtual assistants, or you may be outsourcing to other people to do it, but make sure that those people who are going to be writing about that article is passionate about it, so that it comes through their writing, through all their research and all those other things that are relevant. Okay, so those are the 5 important points that I just want to mention before we do jump in on how to determine if it's a profitable keyword. This is the basis and the foundation because it's important to understand how this all works. Now let's go in and I'm going to show you right now step by step on how to determine those things inside Market Samurai. So follow me through to my Market Samurai software. Alright, so we've jumped into Market Samurai right now and I've opened it up to create a new project. And the first thing you'll see in here when you create a new project is it will ask you to create a new keyword term. And basically, this is a market that you're going to be determining whether or not the keyword is going to be sufficient and it's going to be something that's relevant to everything that we've talked about. I'm going to just pick a sample one. This is something that we may or may not have good results. So I'm just giving you an example of how to go about doing this. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to choose a particular industry, something called car driving exam tests. Okay, so I've just typed in car driving exam test. This is an industry that I'm interested in learning about, so I want to find out more about car driving and all the exam tests out there. This is just a sample, as I said. So we'll click create. Okay, so I've created a new keyword term called car driving exam test, and what you'll notice right here, the first thing is if you've never used Market Samurai, you've got a bunch of options here. You've got all these different terms. Now in this particular tutorial we're going to be mostly focusing on keyword research, which is this tab here, or this button here, and SEO competition. And those are the most important things that I'm going to be looking at today. Okay, so the first thing I'd suggest you do is click on keyword research, and what will happen is that it'll bring you to this new screen here. Now, if you haven't got an AdWords account or Google AdWords account, I highly recommend you set one up. And this is my little tip for you. Normally, if you don't have a Google AdWords account, you're restricted to find 100 searches. And you'll see this over here. And it'll say that, basically it'll say generate with that AdWords account. What I would suggest is I would highly recommend, if you don't have a Google AdWords account, set up one with Google. It's free to set up, and once you set up, enter in your information here by clicking add new AdWords account, and that enables you to be able to firstly search more than 100 keywords, and you can search up to 800, and secondly it won't pop up with these annoying captcha things, because every time you run a search it will ask you to enter in a captcha just to prevent spam. With a verified Google account, it saves you all that time. Alright, so once you've set that up, which I've done already here, then what I would do is click on generate keywords, and what will happen is that it'll go straight to Google and start looking for keywords related to car driving exam test. This may take a bit of time, so we'll wait here, and then once it's finished, we'll move on from there. Okay, as you can see in front of you, Google's come back, Market Samurai's come back from Google with over 800 active keywords, and not every single keyword is going to be relevant to this. So what we can do is, before we do actually analyze each individual keyword, on the left hand side here you can have positive keywords and negative keywords, and let me explain to you what these are. Positive keywords are keywords that you want to find that are related directly to car driving exam tests, for example. Things that you definitely want in there. So for example, you might want driving test as being one, because it's relating to an exam test, and you click update and it'll come up with those ones, and automatically it's actually gone through and filtered only the ones with driving test. You might want other things that might be relevant as well, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this and I'll just leave it open because I do want to have a look at the scope for it. Now negative keywords are words that I do not want in there. Things such as free are usually keywords I don't want, and if you want to put a lot of them in there, boat, for example, is not related to car, so you want to remove that as well, for example. And there's other things in there like UK. I don't want to be specifying just only UK, so I'll just put those negative keywords in there, and I'll click update. And what will happen is that it will filter it through and remove 42 of it. Okay, same thing here as well. Bike, I don't want bike because it's not relevant to cars, and I can understand why it's come up with these, but I want to make sure I remove them so that I don't spend my time trying to find out if these keywords are relevant. Okay, so once you've done that, you've got now, say 43 removed, we can go down here and click on Analyze Keywords. And what will happen now is that Market Samurai will put these into a system here where it shows you in a nice table all the details. And I'm going to go through each and every one of these for you just to explain how this all works. Basically, I'm just going to sort this here. SEOT basically stands for the maximum potential clicks that you can get through for #1 site ranking. Say for example, if you're ranked here at #1 for the key terms of car driving exam test, you may get 100,000 people clicking through to your website. And that's a very high volume of traffic that would come through on a daily basis. Okay. That's very, very high, but in general, you'll probably be looking at about a few hundred people coming through to your website on a daily basis if you're ranked #1, depending on what market you're going to. Okay, the next thing is PBR, which stands for phrase to broad match ratio. Basically, what this means is that the higher the percentage means that the higher there's a keyword term that matches to this keyword. So therefore, car driving exam test, if you've got 100% match, what it means is that it actually matches up the phrases to the test, to your keyword term that you're searching. And in this example, for example here, test seems to match up quite well with exam test. What you ultimately want is the higher percentage. That's what you just got to keep in mind. The next thing you want to look at is the SEO comp, which is SEO, search engine competition. And this basically is how many websites are currently ranked inside Google that are competing for this keyword term. And obviously, if there's a higher number here, that means that there's a lot of competition. The lower the number, the better it is for you. Alright, so the first thing what I would do is before you do start with anything, okay, just to filter this through quickly, is to punch in a few simple numbers. And this is where it comes back down to we're talking about the relevance and the traffic. And I'll show you back in what I was talking about at the beginning. So what I was talking about, I talked about relevance just then. What I'm talking about right now is traffic. And this is very, very crucial. And you want at least a minimum of 80 searches per day, at least minimum. Okay. So let me jump back into Market Samurai to show you that. So what I've done is over here for SEO traffic, you want to just make sure this is ticked and you put in at least a minimum of 80 searches per day. The reason why we choose 80 is because that would be at least the minimum of traffic that you want coming to your website. If it's less than that, then you don't want to spend your time trying to optimize for it. So that would be the minimum. Then the second thing you want to do is actually make sure that you have a minimum of phrase to broad match ratio of at least 15%. Okay, anything lower than that means that it's not irrelevant at all to your keyword term. So just make sure you type in at least 15% here. You can obviously adjust these figures, but these are at least the minimum requirements I recommend you do. Now, once you've done that, what you want to do is click on this button here that says Analyze Keywords. And what will happen is that Google will go, Market Samurai will go to Google and actually generate the results for the search engine competition. And this is what we need to find out to determine whether or not these keywords are going to be relevant to you. So let's click on this and wait for the results to generate.